Great Scott.
Great Scott.
Great Scott.
Hello everyone and welcome to another fantabulous episode of Great Scott. Let's move on to the Snyder Cut trailer we've all seen. Trailer also doesn't look like they spent exacting amounts of time and money making it look perfect. It looks a little bit computerish. That may be what we get in the movie, which may be acceptable, knowing that it was an unfinished project that they're putting a little bit of money to. A little bit. 20 million is a lot of money. 50 million is a lot of money, but in terms of finishing an entire movie with effects and characters and big things like superhero stuff, not that much. Some money was spent. Some scenes were already cut. I've been saying for years, although everyone that doesn't like Snyder or was glad that it was over was saying that it's a fallacy, that no Snyder Cut exists. There is no Snyder Cut. This is the movie we got. Though there were reports for a long time that a different movie was filmed, or many different scenes to a possible different movie were filmed that didn't get finished because Snyder left. And we brought Whedon in, and this is a lot of studio interference. It's happened with movies since the beginning of the modern era of movies. Studios are obviously very concerned with the bottom line. They decided they didn't like the direction they thought it might have been going. They weren't thrilled with the take on Man of Steel or on Batman v Superman. They gave him 2 chances. Neither one of those turned out the way any of us really wanted them to in terms of success. I want Superman to be on top. Batman doesn't have too much difficulty, although with that movie it wasn't huge. Did okay. I was happy with it. There were some issues, just like there were with Man of Steel. There almost always will be. But Justice League was a travesty in and of itself and really stepped away from that whole tone. And that's expected when you have an unfinished product that then has to have a different person come in and try to finish it. And Whedon was sort of under edict by the powers that be to make a different thing, to make it lighter, to make it happier, to make it different, to make it funnier. Something that hadn't been done yet in the Zack Snyder version of these characters. So then you have Batman making jokes, which isn't a normal thing. Occasionally, rarely. You have him laughing when he feels like he has internal bleeding. You have Superman and Cyborg rolling on the ground laughing, which might happen in a Teen Titans Go cartoon, or in some other places. There might be a time when they would laugh, and they did save the world, so laughing's okay. You have the Flash race at the end, which was great. There were parts of it that were fun, but you could tell it was sort of a pasted together, strange feeling sort of thing. I don't know that I want to see a black-suited version of another evil version of Superman that's taken over by Darkseid, which is a rumor that might be what it'll be. The anti-life equation, which probably makes more sense in terms of bringing him back to life, even though he does come back to life in the comics in the Death of Superman story with Doomsday. But this is a very different version of that story. So him coming back a different way is okay and probably expected. I would have loved to see the traditional Death of Superman and Return of Superman version in live action. Maybe we'll get 20, 30 years from now, but probably not. It's already sort of been done on live action. We've had 2 animated versions of it, and now we have this death and this return. If it's going to be by anti-life equation and Darkseid's going to have him sort of as his evil slave and evil minion, a fight with the Justice League would make more sense than it did in the version that we saw. Even though that was one of the coolest parts, because we really did see how much more powerful, if he wasn't holding back, Superman would be against the rest of the Justice League. Part of his weakness as Superman is that he never really fully goes all out because he knows the damage it can cause. He obviously didn't go full out in the fight with the Justice League either, or they'd probably be all burned to a crisp. But he did fairly handily defeat them. And it was Lois again who was able to bring him back around, and we may see that in the Zack Snyder version of the movie as well, because Lois is like his North Star. He can always follow it back to home. I'm looking forward to this Zack Snyder Justice League. I didn't think it would ever happen, although I knew a lot of footage and a lot of ideas and a lot of intentions existed. My vision was that there was such a falling out with him leaving, Whedon coming in, and the entire thing sort of being scrapped and changed, that there wouldn't be enough good faith between the 2 entities that we would ever see such a project. Again, if it's as unfinished as the Donner Cut was and disappointing to me as it was, it would be very deflating and very unfortunate. Makes sense that they would hype it up. Makes sense that they would have all of this news around it. Makes sense that Snyder himself would be tweeting and Instagramming about it constantly. You want to get everybody's fervor up, even if it's going to be just sort of a rehash of what we already saw with some thrown in uncompleted scenes and an idea that there might be this great anti-life equation with Darkseid and Apocalypse in a 2-part huge epic, even if we can't really get that. But maybe we will. I hope we do. And we'll have to wait until 2021 to see. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember... Hello everyone, I'm Scotty V. Blah. Remember, always look up in the sky.